Okay, oh, wrong screen. All right, here we are, and I got something new to show off. If I can find, there it is. My brand new animated emote. It's awfully small. I hope I can maybe make that a little bit bigger, but cheers. Animated beer mugs. So, pretty cool. Anyway, first time trying it. That's awfully small. I hope I can maybe use the bigger version of it. But here we are, and it is time for some Star Wars. Where has my Star Wars gone? Time for some Crosscurrent. Here we go. And, oh, and some captions would be nice as well. But are they going to work? Apparently they are not. So, we'll get a new link here and get that going before we start reading. There we go. All right. Yeah. File copy. Okay. So we're on chapter 7. And if you were here Wednesday, you know that this book flips back and forth between 5,000 years before the Battle of Yavin and 41 and a half years after. But the last two chapters have been in the present, the 41 and a half years after. And this looks like this one is at least starting off that way. But this is where this book is put in the timeline on the Wikipedia Star Wars timeline for the Legends material. So that's why I'm reading it now. And then once we get through it, we'll get back to stuff that is strictly in the 5,000 years before um, timeline. Anyway, here we go. Chapter 7. Kedron and Mar flew Junker outside the orbit of Faust's moons, clear of gravity wells. The ship and cockpit took on the quiet serenity of a craft moving through the vacuum. "What is our course?" Mar asked. The Sarian looked first to Kedron, then to Jaden. "About time for that talk, eh?" Kedron said to Jaden, and swallowed his chew stem. Jaden nodded. "About time." "Come into our office," Kedron said, and he and Mar led Jaden to the galley in the center of the ship. Neither Kedron nor Mar had removed his blaster. Jaden understood their caution. He would have to earn their trust. A large custom viewport in the galley's ceiling offered a view of space. The stars blinked down at them. A metal dining table and benches affixed to the floor afforded seating. A bar and built-in cabinets dominated one of the walls. Kedron went to the bar, took a calf pot large enough for a restaurant from an overhead storage bin, filled it with water, dropped in 3 pouches of grounds, and activated it. In moments, the red brew light turned green. Kedron removed the lid, and the smell of calf filled the galley. He poured 2 large mugs full and waved a third at Jaden. "Calf? The ship and her crew run on it." "Yes, thank you," Jaden said, and composed his thoughts. Kedron returned to the table with 3 steaming mugs of calf. Jaden took a sip and tried not to recoil at its bitterness. "We prefer it strong," Mar said. "Any stronger and you'd have to eat it with a fork," Jaden said. Kedron put his hands on the table and interlaced his fingers. Jaden noted the scars, the calluses. Mar put his hands on the table, near his blaster. "Before we start," Kedron said, "let me ask you something. Back in the hole, when you stopped me in the common room, did you use the mind trick on me?" Jaden saw no point in lying. "I did." Kedron stared at his face, his eyes askew. "Don't do it again." "All right." "Now what's your proposal?" Jaden dived in. "The coordinates Regus wanted. I want those too." Both Kedron and Mar tensed. "I figured," Kedron said. He leaned back in his chair and threw an arm over its back, striking a casual pose. "You a salvager, Jedi, or is there something else there?" Jaden did not answer the question. The rumors in Farpoint said the signal was an automated distress signal. "We think," Kedron said, "but there's no life down there. Nobody for a Jedi to save." "Except myself," Jaden thought. "We don't know that," Mar said. "There could be life. Wow, where did that come from? There could be life. I did not perform a thorough scan." Kedron stared at Mar as if the Sarian had just admitted to being a Sith. "Right. Thanks, Mar." Jaden said, "I understand it originated on a moon at the far end of the system." "And?" Kedron asked. Jaden tried to hold his calm, even while he flashed back on his force vision. He realized with alarm that he could be wrong, that Kedron and Mar might have found a moon, but not the moon from the vision. He tried to read their faces as he said, "It's a frozen moon orbiting a blue-ringed gas giant." Kedron and Mar shared a glance. "You have been there?" Mar said. Jaden exhaled, relieved. "No, but I've seen it." "What?" Kedron asked. "Tell me about it," Jaden said. "What drew your attention to it? How'd you pick up the signal?" Mar took a long draw on his calf cup. His short, graying hair formed a ruff around the mountain of his skull. He furrowed his brow as he thought back, the lines forming cryptic characters on his forehead. "We were returning from another situation and had to take a roundabout course back." Jaden understood the Sarian to mean that they had been involved in something illicit, that it had gone wrong, and that they'd had to run. He gestured for Mar to continue. "We stopped in a remote system so I could recalculate our course, and we caught a signal of the kind you described." Jaden's skin turned to goose flesh. "Did you record it?" Of course, Mar said, but I haven't yet been able to break its encryption. Kedron drained his cup, set it down on the table. Let's slow this down. He ran a hand through his dark hair, sniffed the air. Stang, but I need a shower. I smell like the hole. Jaden ignored the conversational detour. You want to get back to why? To the why? No, Kedron said. I want to get to the how much. That'll tell me what I need to know about the why. Jaden cleared his throat, steadied his hands, finally said, I can offer you 2,000 credits now and another 7,000 after I confirm the moon is what I'm after and we return. 2,000 credits up front? Kedron leaned back in his chair, the hint of derision in the curl of his lip. Mar? 2,000 credits would barely cover operating costs. Barely covers operating costs, Kedron echoed. Jaden, in no mood for haggling, leaned forward in his chair. I do not have time for this, Captain. Much may depend on this. For whom? Jaden stared into Kedron's tanned, lined face. For me. Kedron held his gaze for a time. Didn't I say he had those eyes, Mar? You did. And doesn't he? He does. What eyes? Jaden asked, but Kedron ignored him. How do you suppose he'll look when he and his haunted eyes get out in the deep black and what he's looking for out there ain't there, after all? Not good, Captain. Not good, that's right. Why don't you leave that to me, Jaden said, fighting back irritation. Kedron stood. Because you're sitting in my galley in my ship. He walked over to the bar, refilled his caf. Mar? Yes, please, the Sarian said. Kedron returned to the table with the pot, refilled Mar's cup, even topped off Jaden's. I think this is where we part ways, Jaden Core. This smells like some Jedi grand scheme, and I've seen what comes of those. Jaden understood the oblique reference to outbound flight. Jaden had seen what came of Jedi grand schemes, too. Centerpoint and everyone on it exploded in a Jedi grand scheme. That's not really how we work, Mar added, and Jaden detected a hint of an apology in the Sarian's tone. Even after what Master Skywalker did for you? Kedron stiffened, his fingers white around the handle of his calf pot. Still standing, he said, I owe Luke and Mara Skywalker, not the Jedi Order. Jaden felt his plans crumbling, his own fist clenched. He saw Mar tense and took a moment to calm himself. I don't want the salvage. I just need to see it. Mar's eyes formed a question. Why? Kedron said, that sounds a bit more personal than you've let on. Jaden offered the truth. No one in the Order knows I'm here. This may have consequences for the Order, but this isn't about that. Kedron slid into his seat, and his tone softened. Explain, please. Jaden took a drink of caf, savoring the bitterness. I have had a vision, given me by the Force. He noticed Mar staring intently at him with his blue eyes, and wondered if Mar had experienced his own visions. Jaden went on. I saw in that vision what I believe, now more than ever, to be your moon. Kedron smiled, shook his head. I knew it was something like that. Those eyes. And? Mar asked. You saw it in what context? What drew you all the way out here? Jaden licked his lips. The vision involved symbolism that wouldn't make much sense to you, he sighed. Listen, I am asking you to trust me. I am not interested in salvage or taking anything that's there. I just need to stand on it, see it, understand what it means. The silence sat heavy between them. The stars streamed past in the viewport above. Thoughts turned behind Kedron's and Mar's eyes. Jaden could do nothing but wait for them to render their verdict. He would not take the coordinates by force or contrivance. He had already taken a life, warranted, he thought, but he had no intention of pushing matters further. Kedron finished another cup of caf. See, Mar, this I can understand. The man has something personal at stake here, and he's willing to pay 5,000 credits up front to set foot on a frozen moon spinning out in the middle of nowhere. I can get behind that. As can I, Mar said thoughtfully. It's done then, Kedron said. I said 2,000 credits up front, Jaden said. Did you? Kedron asked. Jaden smiled and shook his head. All right, 5 it is. Kedron smiled. More calf? Jaden decided the man guzzled calf the way a star cruiser guzzled fuel. No, thank you, he said, and looked Kedron and Mar in the face. And thank you. Mar will plot the course, Kedron said, extending his hand. We'll leave immediately. Done deal? Jaden shook his hand. Done. And Captain? Kedron raised his eyebrows, waiting. I look at you and I see the same eyes you see in me. So what is it you're looking for? Kedron smiled, but Jaden saw that it was forced. Nah, that's just my floater, Jedi. He pointed at his lazy eye. Helps me see the angles. Me, I'm just a junk jockey flying the black. I'm happy with that. Of course you are, Jaden said, but he knew better. Kedron was searching for something out in the black of space, the same as Jaden. Jaden looked to Mar, who was staring at Kedron. Mar, the recorded signal? Mar nodded. Certainly. Mar disappeared for a time, returned with a data crystal and his port comp. He inserted the crystal and pressed a few keys. The hollowness of an open channel started the recording, followed by a faint, repeated recitation, the encrypted sound unintelligible as language, but reminiscent in its repetition of an ancient rite, a magic spell of summoning. Jaden leaned in close, his skin stippled with goosebumps, listening to an echo from the past, decades old, ghosts calling to them through time. Mar said, As I said, I haven't been able to decrypt it. No need, Jaden said, and turned it off. It's Imperial. I can tell from the cadence. Probably an automated distress call, as you suspected. In the privacy of his mind, the voice from his visions sang out, Help us, help us. Take me to this moon, Jaden said. Oh, that was it. What? That was a really short chapter. Well, let me see how long the next one is, because it's another modern, or, current day one, or 41 and a half years after present. So let's see, it's 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's too long to jump into tonight. My voice would give out before we finished it. So we will have to just carry on next time, and we definitely get back to the past part in this next chapter. Quite a bit, it looks like. It's going to flip back and forth a couple of times. So should be interesting. So short but sweet session tonight on the Star Wars reading, and I will take a little bit of a break. I normally don't start my gaming until 9:30, so I'll come back then, and we will play some Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. So I'll see you then.